season was 365 to Sim, 404 to myself, which means 5 points for a completely correct scoreline, 1 point for a correct result. Star man, once you pick that man, you cannot pick them again for the rest of the season. And it's 5 points for a goal, 2 points for an assist. I'll be completely and brutally honest with you. I haven't seen much football over the course of yesterday, but let's go and review the games. So Prem, Bournemouth, Leicester finished 2-0 to Bournemouth. Sim went for 3-0. I went for 2-0. So I get a big fat 5-pointer to extend my lead. Sim gets 1 point and Semenyo gets a double.
Yeah, good away for Bournemouth to end the season. Not enough for, well, where did they finish in the end? They finished 9th. So, I mean, you got to say, great season for Iraola and Bournemouth, isn't it? Leicester, interesting. Van Nistelrooy asked after the game if he's had any conversations with the Leicester chairman. He said he's still waiting to hear from them. It's been silent, he said. Sounds kind of ominous for him, similar maybe to Ange, but good win for Leicester.
What do you reckon about?
Sorry, good win for Bournemouth, but
what do you reckon about Van Nistelrooy? Do you think they should stick with him in the Championship? Because he could be a good Championship manager and then maybe change managers if they get promoted again.
Yeah, but also could not be one. It's a bit of a risk. You could just get a tried and tested Championship manager rather than. I mean, have you seen anything enough of Van Nistelrooy?
Who do you mean, like Steve Cooper or someone?
Yeah, something like that. I think get him back. I won't be surprised. I think that'll probably be a better choice. So I reckon they let him go. I think probably I don't think he showed anywhere near enough to suggest he should stay.
Yeah. I mean, has there been apart from De Boer, like a statistically worse manager than Van Nistelrooy? Like, it's been terrible.
Yeah, it's been absolutely terrible. Yeah. Well, you did finish above. Well, to be fair, some decent form lately. Win, draw, and win in the last 4 games. What's happened to them?
Yeah, they're actually in the form table 7 points in the last 5.
Keep him. I think he's going to leave though. I think I'm going to sack him. But yeah, fair play to Iraola. 9th improvement on last season, which was I think 12th. So really good season for Iraola in the end.
Fulham, Man City. It finished 2-0 to Man City, where Man City confirmed their Champions League status for next season. Sim went for 1-0. I went for 2-1. Gundogan early doors, and then Haaland sealed off with a penalty with around 15 minutes to go.
Yeah, fair play. They sealed it in the end after looking a bit ropey, drawing to Southampton, leaving it a bit open, but good win. Deserved a win as well. Never easy going to Craven Cottage and winning, and it'll put them in good stead next season to go again, and I think revamp the squad a bit. Obviously, we know Guardiola is staying for another couple of years, and he's going to leave them in a good place, I'm sure. But I'm sure they're going to have a big summer. They'll be back to their best next season.
Ipswich, West Ham. It finished 3-1 to West Ham. Sim went for 2-1 to Ipswich. I went for 1-1. And West Ham, they're finishing the season off on a high. I think, what is that? 2 wins and a draw in their last 4 games. I heard a rumour that Graham Potter's leaving at the end of the season. Is that
really?
True?
I haven't heard anything. He said they're in for a big summer. He said exciting summer.
So he's not. But yeah, they probably finished off on the best form that Potter's shown since coming in.
Yeah, good win. Watching the highlights, it was definitely not simple. Ipswich definitely could add a few goals, but how many times have we said that with Ipswich, haven't we? Yeah. A big and again, Delap I think was left out in this game.
He's been left out quite a few times.
Maybe it's because he's leaving. Maybe they don't want to risk it, or maybe he's just doesn't have his heart in it. But a couple of good goals from Bowen and Kudus ending off the season here for West Ham. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with them next season because they've got so much talent in that team. And also Paquetá, is he leaving? Probably at the end of the season.
They're saying he could be going back to Brazil now.
He could be leaving. So a bit of uncertainty for West Ham. But yeah, decent end of the season. Ipswich. What do you think happens with Kieran McKenna? Obviously, I don't think he gets sacked, but is he leaving? Is he going to go somewhere else? Or is he going to try and bring them back up from the Championship?
Trying to think of what Premier League teams are going to need managers going into next season. Not many.
Only the bottom. Many. Yeah, so maybe us. That's the only one maybe you could look at. Like all the other teams are all very, very settled. Yeah. Pretty much the whole Premier League. You can't really see any of them losing their jobs.
So I think unless there's a Premier League job going, I think he stays.
What about, let's say, Leicester comes in for him? Would he go there? Bigger club?
Nah, I think he would stay at Ipswich. Yeah.
Fairs. So yeah, because he was destined last season for Man United and Chelsea wanted him.
Yeah, look, if he smashes out the Championship again, or a Premier League job comes up mid-season, he could leave mid-season or something like that. But I think as of now, he'll stay. He's still a young manager. He's still a young manager making his name in the game. So I wouldn't be, quick to leave. Next up is Liverpool Palace, where Liverpool lifted the trophy. It finished 1-1. Sim went for 1-1. I went for 2-1 Liverpool. Sim gets a 5-pointer for this one. And it's just how Liverpool's end of the season have gone. They've been on the beach for a number of weeks now. And
haven't won a game, I think, since they confirmed champions.
Yeah. And this is basically a pre-run for the Charity Shield or the Community Shield next season.
Yeah, and obviously good start for Palace. Sarte in the lead, then Gravenberg gets sent off with the last man challenge, deservedly. But Liverpool, look, to be fair, whenever Liverpool gone down to 10 men this season, they've been good. I remember their one game against Fulham, they went down to 10 men and were brilliant a few times. Like Slot has this way of playing with 10 men that doesn't stop them creating chances, which is very impressive. And they deservedly equalised, so fair play to them. There was a double guard of honour in this one, did you see?
Yeah, I heard about it. Yeah, I heard both teams got a guard of honour, which was quite something.
Well, Palace did a guard of honour for Liverpool, and then Liverpool walked through, and then they split into a guard of honour, then Palace walked through that guard of honour. So it was a double guard of honour. So fair play to both teams. Yeah, and
where was our guard of honour?
No guard of honour for Tottenham. Disgrace. But they finished in the end on 84. 10 points clear of Arsenal. 84 points, though, is 2 points less than Pochettino Spurs.
Yeah, I know. It's mad, isn't it?
So we would have won the league this season. Although, it's hard to say that because they'd won the league so early, you know what I mean? If it was still on the line, they probably would have got more points.
Yeah, absolutely. But look, it's a big summer for Liverpool now because with Trent leaving, they've brought in Frimpong. There's rumours they're going to get in Kirkes and Wirtz. I think Wirtz will get done. It looks like that is...
Wirtz, yeah, that looks like he's on the verge.
It looks like it's
what
pretty much happening. Over 100 million.
What a signing.
But with them not signing anyone last summer and them winning the league, if they kick on and have a real serious summer, they can put themselves in proper favourites for next season title again.
Yeah, Kirkes, I think, left-hand side. Probably, I think, get rid of Nunes and go big on another forward player.
Yeah.
They're going to be a serious team.
Yeah.
But I saw AFT...
Do you think they're early favourites for the title next season?
Well, some of the business they're doing, when losing Trent, and I thought it is a big blow. It is a big blow. But obviously, they've replaced Frimpong now. They're going to get, I think, probably if they get Kirkes and they're getting Wirtz, all of a sudden, of course, they're yeah, I would say so. For sure, right now, because Arsenal need a lot more business to be done. Depends who they get. Obviously, City probably need a lot more business to be done. So right now, with the business they're doing it early, they're favourites, but that could all change. If Arsenal go and get an Isak or something, all of a sudden that all changes.
Well, Isak ain't leaving. He's already said that he's... it's already been confirmed that he's staying at Newcastle.
Okay, it doesn't have to be Isak specifically.
The choice is Sesko and Gyökeres. That's the choice.
Well, that's the choice right now. Things can change. Who knows? But if they get a serious striker, if they do get a Gyökeres, and also maybe some more, they can put themselves back in that conversation.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see the business that Man City do, which we'll get into in a second. But Manchester United 2, Aston Villa 0. We both went for Villa wins. I went 2 and Sim went 1-0 in a game where Aston Villa were absolutely robbed. A massive game for them. Martinez puts them down to 10 men. And then there was that moment with 50 minutes to go when Rodgers puts it in the back of the net.
Yeah, and they got absolutely robbed. Rodgers tackled Bayinda. He didn't have any hands on the ball. Didn't have control of the ball. Rodgers put it in the empty net, but the referee blows his whistle before the ball goes into the back of the net, and so VAR can't get involved. And that must be an absolute killer because they're down to 10 men. Martinez with a horrible rugby tackle on Højlund early on. And Villa, put themselves in a horrible situation in the first half, down to 10 men having to win the game. And with 20 minutes to go, they got that goal and you're thinking, wow, they're going to do this with 10 men. And they would have probably clung on to that win, I think. And to have that robbed of you, and then 2 minutes later, you concede a goal and all of a sudden it's over. You have to come back from 1-0 down with 10 men. It's never going to happen. And Emery was fuming on the touchline, fuming after the game, understandably so. When the margins are this thin for Champions League or Europa League, considering as well the you got to consider as well the kind of financial trouble they're potentially in with spending so much on wages. It's a massive blow for them, and this must be gut wrenching. Imagine how how sick you'd feel being a Villa fan right now with that happening.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, they've had a good season, Aston Villa. And Emre did come out after the game and says, Europa League is still a very good competition and we're happy to be in it.
And if there's one manager you want in that competition,
it's true. And I make Aston Villa, one of the favourites to go and win that next season.
100%. And they were for the Conference League as well, which they didn't. But obviously, Emre has unbelievable pedigree in this European. Even this season, how they took PSG right to the wire. He always seems to find a way in these European competitions. So for sure, they become early favourites. I think him being the manager immediately makes them favourites.
Yeah. Man U, on the other hand, obviously losing Europa League final, finishing 16th. They did in the end, and
15th.
15th. Okay, fine.
The lofty heights of 15th.
Finished the season with a good 3 points at home to Aston Villa,
Played really well,
which was a big game for them. And then on the back of it, they've signed Cunha with all the and Cunha's been one of the best players in the Premier League this season, in my opinion. And all the talk about Man United are so broke and this and that, cutting wages and all this kind of stuff. Straight away, bang, with no Champions League revenue, with no kind of revenues for European football. 60 million on Cunha.
Fantastic
and
signing.
Potentially someone like Liam Delap coming through the door as well.
That's the rumours as well. And then there's talks from Buemo. So it looks like they might be splashing it anyway, regardless. But look, there's obviously talks of a massive clear out, so maybe they're planning for that as well. Garnacho leaving, potentially Bruno. They're saying Bruno actually might leave. So if he does leave, to be fair, that could be probably a big transfer fee and also a big wage packet. Big transfer fee and big wage packet. So if they get rid of him, then you can kind of make sense. You can get someone like Cunha through the door. Maybe that's already decided. Because I can't see them putting that big of outlay if there's not some guaranteed money in the door.
Yeah, I think the Garnacho replacement would have been Cunha.
Garnacho's leaving as well. Well, Bruno makes sense as well because he's the number 10, and Cunha's going to be one of the number 10s.
Yeah, I mean Cunha can play everywhere, can't he? Such a good player as well. Up front on the wing. 10.
I think I envisage he'll probably be one of the number 10s, so he'll get number 9 as well. Although I want to, because the Lap's coming in as a number 9. But he can play, as you say, across that front line. What a signing, I think, for Man United. And obviously, right now, after the season they've had, it's hard to get excited about anything, even Cunha coming in. Because how many times have they got a big signing and they get excited and then turns out to be rubbish? So I understand for them, it's like...
This is an actual significant signing because he's been one of the best players, if not... one of the best players in the Premier League this season. Yeah, but
they've signed Pogba. They've signed all these big players and it hasn't worked out. Sanchez, big guys you expect, they're guarantees, right? Sanchez is a guarantee. Pogba is a guarantee. And it hasn't worked out. So, especially the back off the season, they've just finished 15th and they've lost the Europa League final. It's probably hard to get excited about anything. But I think for me, it's a very exciting signing, isn't it? Cunha, I'm jealous. I wanted Cunha at Tottenham for sure. So it's a great signing. Good start to the summer for them. But obviously, Amorim apologising to the whole Man United fan base after the game. A lot of Man United fans I've seen on social media not happy with him at the moment, and few wanting him out and turning. But obviously, it's confirmed he will be there next season. He's going to be manager, even though he offered to resign. Apparently, he will be there. And look, they need to give him that summer, don't they, to get his players?
Yeah, he said to the Man United fans that he apologises for the embarrassing season. But, the good times are coming, he said. Yeah. So let's see how it goes. And it is a scary, because Man United, whatever you want to say about them, one of the biggest clubs in world football, probably the biggest sleeping giant that you can see in football right now with where they finished in the league, and they're nowhere near where they should be. So if Amorim can get it together there and they make the right signings this summer, they can start to make their way back to the top.
And no European football, they're going to have that one game a week. Perfect for someone like Amorim to implement how he wants to play.
Exactly. Newcastle, Everton. This was another shock of the day. Everton 1-0 at St James Park, which didn't
unbelievable.
End up to be a significant result, but it very well could have been when Newcastle kind of shut the bed a little bit.
Bottling all over the place on the final day.
Yeah, it really was. We both went 2-0 to Newcastle. I was certain Newcastle were going to win this. Certain.
Yeah, it was a weird one. They had chances, but they just seem to sometimes when you've got a game like this against opponent, all opponents in the Premier League are difficult opponents, aren't they? And you kind of have to be on your game, often to win. And although Everton had nothing to play for, Newcastle just had this because they just expected to win and because of the magnitude of the game, it's kind of like they just were very they played the whole game with a certain level of urgency. Like they played the whole game like it was the last 10 minutes and they needed to get a goal. And it kind of just went against them a bit. And if they would have just played their natural game, then it would have been simpler. But they kind of panicked they had to play this desperation from minute one. And that led to them just like playing into Everton's hands a bit, I felt, during the game. And Everton actually played really well. They had chances. Like it wasn't just like a 1-0 backs against the wall. Like they played really well, Everton. So credit to them. Great win. Newcastle will breathe a big sigh of relief that loss. Because even a draw for Villa, they would have been out. So Villa losing to United, massive sigh of relief for Newcastle. But they'll be in the Champions League next season. What a season, a trophy and a top 5 finish.
Yeah, so Eddie Howe now has got 2 Champions League finishes and a trophy for Newcastle. What a brilliant job he's done at St James's Park. Top manager Eddie Howe.
And a lot of times his position has been questioned.
Yeah.
Even this season, beginning. As I said, when I think on December time, they were below Tottenham in the league.
Yeah.
And his position was questioned. Last season, the position was questioned heavily. And he keeps coming through it.
Yeah, look, fantastic job that he's done. Another Champions League finish. This time a bit lucky, to be honest, but it is what it is. They got there and they're in the Champions League next season. That's all that matters. When they're playing Champions League football next season, no one's going to be looking back at this season saying how lucky they were on the last day.
But obviously Newcastle have completely revolutionised themselves since getting the new owners. But there's always also kind of that feeling like they've clearly gone up levels, but are they... Because the money they have, everyone's waiting for this like massive summer where they spend loads and loads. Is it going to happen this summer?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where they stand on PSR and everything like that. So, look, if they would have got these owners the same time that Man City got the owners or the same time Chelsea got the owners, they would have had that summer already. But because of the financial restrictions, they haven't been able to do that. So I believe I don't know because I don't know the full ins and outs, but I believe that this summer they're able to spend more than what they usually have. But you look at their team, they've got a really good side.
They just need, in terms of first 11, I would say midfield, one of the best, The front line, Gordon and Isaac, brilliant. Just need a right winger. Get someone like Mbeumo in, and that's one of the best front lines. Back line, probably need, I think centre-backs probably need to start upgrading those, I would say. And maybe a fullback as well.
They just need a partner for Botman.
Shah's just getting on a bit. He's good still, but I don't know if you can rely on him to play every game now. You need a partner for Botman when he's fully fit.
Well, Dan Burn and Shah both 33 years old.
Yeah,
so.
And I think fullbacks, Livermento's good and Hall is good, but you probably just need to look at get a fullback as well there because Trippier's getting on.
Yeah.
And left back, Matt Targett's not great, and Dan Burn, left back, I don't think he play left back anymore. So they need some investment, but they've got the nucleus of a very, very good team.
Up to 100%. They're going in the right direction. Howe's doing a good job. It's just about how they manoeuvre the situation now. And I'm sure, they've got good people behind the scenes there at Newcastle, and I'm sure they'll be making the right decisions.
Yeah.
Next up is Nottingham Forest against Chelsea. It finished 2-0.
Well, it finished 1-0 actually.
It finished 1-0 at the City Ground, did it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it finished 1-0 at the City Ground. We both went for 1-1. And Nottingham Forest finally, finishing the season how they've been over the past 5 or 6 weeks. They're completely shitting the bed.
They did, unfortunately. It's a shame,
completely shut the bed. But credit to Chelsea for getting into the Champions League after their wobble in the second half of the season. But Nottingham Forest will be playing Conference League football next season. And as much as it is a disappointment not to get into the Champions League, not to get into the Europa League, they will be one of the favourites to get the Conference League next season.
It was really that Leicester game that did it, wasn't it? 2-2 at home to Leicester.
Yeah.
When they're relegated. Those 2 points would have meant they finished 5th. And those 2 points were the difference in Conference League and being where they are now. So it must be absolutely gutting for them to miss out the way they have. Obviously, if you offered them 7th at the beginning of the season, they chew your hand off for that and more. Like, it's an unbelievable season for them, considering they were 17th last season. Massive jump up. But still, the way it ended and the fact they were literally, I think not long ago, they were 3rd and there was something like 8 or 9 points clear of 6th. And they looked a shoo-in. And it really has been a collapse from them. And look, as we've said before, teams like them, when they get in that position, often they do get nosebleeds being so high up. It has happened before with a lot of clubs, and they fall away a bit, and the pressure gets to them. Unfortunately, it did happen with them. I feel bad for them, but Conference Leagues are good. Look, to be fair, Conference League is a competition they can definitely win. That's a competition they can win next season. So
Yeah.
I think they should be aiming to do that. But I do envisage, like, I could see a drop off for them in the league next season, especially when you add the European games, because I think they're going to take that. They're going to take that Conference League seriously.
Yeah, of course they will.
They will, and they're going to play their first team there, and that's going to affect them, I'm sure. So I think there'll probably be a drop off for them, and the opportunity of being in the Champions, like when they were in the Champions League spots, they were being linked with people like Gyökeres. They were being linked with a lot of big names, but unfortunately, that's not going to happen now.
Yeah, 2 wins since that Villa game on the 5th of April for them, which is disastrous form when you consider the form they were in before that. It's just a massive blow, and we saw Marinakis come on the pitch a few weeks ago and have a go at Nuno. He must be fuming. And I've heard there's been some rumours that there are still some tensions there between Nuno and Marinakis, and Nuno could actually leave at the end of this season. And if I'm Marinakis, I'm getting my hands and knees to Nuno and begging him to stay because he's done a phenomenal job.
But if he has done a phenomenal job this season, but now they're in the Conference League, could it be beneficial to get someone else in? Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Like, Nuno's done fantastic, but as I said, the way they play is just very it's a very counter-attacking defensive, and I do think it kind of caught up with them a bit. They couldn't at the end when push came to shove, when it came to crunch time, like, actually get over the line with some of these games. And
I guess, it's interesting.
Maybe if there's a manager potentially who goes out and attacks a bit more, maybe it could benefit them. But maybe they should just, they know how Nuno's
they need to play this way because who they are. They're Nottingham Forest. You know what I mean? They were one of the candidates people were talking about relegation this season. They finished 7th in the league. Yes,
but you look at their team and like you got Murillo and Milenkovic, brilliant centre backs. They got Gibbs White, brilliant midfielder. Woods obviously been on fire this season.
I think Gibbs White's going to end up leaving this summer though. So if Gibbs White leaves, he's like the hub of that team. That's massive loss for them. Massive loss. And I wouldn't be surprised if some teams are interested in someone like Elliot Anderson as well, because I think he's a phenomenal player.
When you look at Chelsea, and if they end up finishing 4th, what an end to the season. It all changed with that Chelsea game. They were drawing, in fact losing until late on. They got a last-minute winner.
Chelsea game with who?
Huh?
Chelsea game with who?
With Fulham.
Oh, Fulham.
That was like a few weeks ago. It all changed. They were 1-0 down with a few minutes to go, carrying on some poor form. Turned it around, and they've just gone on a great run from now to the end of the season and just got over the line.
That's what momentum can do for you. And they rode that momentum, and they've got a Conference League final on Wednesday as well. So I mean, everyone's fully expecting them to win that, but it's not an easy game. It's Betis. Betis are a decent side. So
I was really hoping. I was just envisaging, like, if they lost this game and then lost the final, they would be back in the Conference League next season, and that would have been amazing. But fair play to them. They got the win. They didn't just draw, which I think a draw would have been enough for them in the end. But they actually got the win. And they've proved a lot of people wrong in this run-in because they weren't playing well, and they've just seemed to get over the line in this run-in impressively. So fair play to them. They will be playing Champions League. And Maresca at the end said, he said in England you say F you or F off or something to people who doubt you, and that's what he did. Although there was a wild celebration in the dressing room. A lot of people saying, is it over the top? A team like Chelsea, should they be that happy getting Champions League? But I guess in the context of how the last few seasons have gone, being back in the Champions League is probably a bigger thing now for them.
Yeah, it's a massive thing for Chelsea to be back. Like, how many times in the last 4 years have they played Champions League football?
Well, it's only been the last 2, hasn't it?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's still
under Potter and under Poch, those
still
2 seasons.
Significant time for them to be out the Champions League.
2 years. So back for the first time in 3 years.
And also, since Roman has left and Bowley's come in, like, they've gone in a complete different direction, just young players. Like, if it was like John Terry and Lampard celebrating like that for Champions League, like, yeah, fair enough, that's not going to happen. But because of where Chelsea are at right now and with the demographic of the squad, like, I think it's fair enough.
Yeah, fair. And Levi Cole, Chelsea boys scoring the winner as well. So fair play to them. Yeah, fair play. And if they win the Conference League as well, Conference League and a trophy and a top 4, good season.
Yeah. Southampton Arsenal finished 2-1 to Arsenal on the day. I went 3-1. You went 3-0. Kieran Tierney, I think his last game for Arsenal, gets on the score sheet. He started at centre back, which was a weird one. And Odegaard scoring in the last minute to win the game for Arsenal. But the best moment of the game is the Southampton fans. Credit to them because they were singing Spurs have got more trophies.
Tottenham Hotspur, they've won more than you. Love it.
Brilliant stuff. The shithousery was immaculate.
Yeah, fantastic. Important news as well for Southampton. Will Still taking over there, which is a very
is that
interesting
confirmed?
appointment. Yeah, he was at the game. Very interesting appointment, that Will Still, because he's had such a great time of it in France on two different clubs. So it's going to be very interesting to see how he does in the Championship next season for Southampton. A good club to take over probably in right now. So it'll be very interesting to see how it gets on. But yeah, Arsenal, they won the game. It was very interesting to see. I saw a tweet from AFTV though, which didn't make any sense to me. Like, Liverpool finished on 84 points, and they said they compared 84 Liverpool this season with Arsenal 89 last season, and the tagline was "Our floor is their ceiling." It's like, what? That doesn't make any sense because your ceiling was 89, and that was last season. Your floor is like now. This is your floor, 74. And they've finished like I don't understand how that makes any sense.
They said our floor is your ceiling.
Yeah.
When
that's their ceiling is the record points total was 89. So how is it their floor? How is their record points total their floor? Doesn't make sense. That's their ceiling. Like, that makes no sense. I don't understand why. Like, you're on 74 points now. So how is that? This is your floor, surely.
Stupid people.
So I don't understand what they're saying. They're trying to make the point they had more points last season than Liverpool this season, but
who cares?
First of all, who cares? But the tagline "Our floor is your ceiling" makes no sense. Makes no sense at all.
Arsenal fans are a special breed. That's all we can say. They're a special breed, Arsenal fans.
They need something to cling on to after the season because they're going to end with no European trophy, less than Tottenham.
But look, congratulations to the Arsenal women winning the Champions League, bringing some pride to the football club. What can I say?
Some Arsenal fans trying to say it's bigger than the men's Europa League.
Yeah, look, it is what it is. Like, congratulations to them. That's all I'm going to say. Like, it is still a good achievement for the club. And
for the women's team, it's a good achievement, yeah.
Very good achievement, yeah. Tottenham Brighton finished 4-1 to Brighton at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We both went for 3-0 to Brighton, so we clearly knew what was coming. Look, I thought under all the circumstances that Spurs put on a decent showing in the first half, went in at halftime 1-0 up. But yeah, we just couldn't carry on, and it was just it just caught up with us, didn't it?
Yeah, I think all the drinking did. But who cares? European champions. In terms of Brighton, though, Hertzler, 8th in his first season. I think he's gone under the radar a bit because maybe there's been some inconsistencies. But Brighton finishing 8th, I know. Did
they get Conference League?
They didn't. They didn't.
Why not?
Didn't. 8th never became it in the end.
Did it not?
No.
Okay. Because they were celebrating like mad. I thought maybe they'd got Conference League.
No, they didn't get it. They just finished 8th.
So what if Chelsea win the conference? Oh, nothing.
Nothing.
Doesn't Europa League doesn't drop down one?
No.
Where does that Europa League spot go then?
I don't know. Not to us, I don't think. Because it goes somewhere in Europe, I think.
Okay.
But still, it's gone on the radar. Maybe Hertzler that finished 8th this season. Maybe because he's off the back of like Potu's done well, De Zerbi's done well. But he's carried that on, hasn't he? And he hasn't allowed them to slip down. Like they're very good at picking their managers, Brighton, and Hertzler seems like another good one.
Yeah, he said he was going to give us a guard of honour.
I know, that's what I'm disappointed in. Very disappointed.
Not a man of his word, Hertzler.
Unlike Postecoglou.
Exactly, but they got to be a bit disappointed as well because they finished 8th. Crystal Palace finished 12th, and Crystal Palace will be the ones playing European football next season.
Bit of a gut punch. They lose bragging rights this season, and as well, Palace won a trophy, and they didn't. So they lose the bragging rights this season to Palace, but still a good season. And for all the talk of Iraola to Tottenham and Frank and these guys, why isn't Hertzler being talked about?
Because it's, I don't know, first year in the job. Maybe he's not in line to leave or something. I think he wants to carry on the job he's doing.
But he finished higher than all of them.
Yeah, he did. And credit to him. But also, he spent the most out of anyone in the Premier League. The amount that they spent was crazy. They spent like 200 million this summer.
They got all these regens. Who is this Gomez who scored an absolute howitzer? Another regen. Who is he? He was brilliant. Won the penalty. Scored a brilliant goal. I've seen him in other games as well. He's been quite good. This guy could be another gem they found.
They signed him.
FM regens they have.
They signed him in the summer from Inter Miami. 13 million.
These FM regens. He was crying when he scored.
but they've spent so much money. Like,
yeah, but that's because they've gotten so much money.
yeah, that's fair enough. But I'm saying they spent so much money. So, I mean, they should, for the amount of money they spent, they should be finishing around 8th.
But they lost all their best players. Literally. All their best players.
Yeah.
You can't say every team who lose their best players should be like Southampton years ago lost all their best players. They got a lot of money, but they didn't manage it well. And in fact, they went down, and now they're in the position they are, yo-yoing because of how they manage that situation. So it's easier said than done, just spending all that money.
Yeah, it's true.
And they've lost, Caicedo, Cucurella, anyone you can think of, they lost for big money. But that's part of their model. They plan for it. If they get a good offer, you sell and you reinvest. So I don't think it's as simple as they spent all that money and look how good they are. This is part of their model.
Yeah, it's true. But another nice moment in the game yesterday was James Milner coming on for the last minute. 39-year-old in the Premier League, so many caps to his name. Surely that's the last we've seen of him.
Well, yeah, probably.
But surely he's not staying on another year at Brighton.
I don't know. Is he out of contract?
I don't know, but he must be.
Must
39.
Be 39. He's been injured most of the season, hasn't he? So I think maybe he's catching up with him. Been a great Premier League player though, hasn't he? Yeah. Even last season at Brighton, I thought he was quite good.
A decent season.
Yeah, decent. But this season, I think age may be finally catching up with him.
Last but not least, Wolves won, Brentford won. We both went for 2-2. Wasn't like the goal fest that we were kind of envisaging, but Mbeumo puts them 1-0 up with an unbelievable season he's had. Menezes levels it up with 50 minutes to go. Menezes gone a bit under the radar. I think he's been decent for Wolves this season. But yeah, it's all about Mbeumo.
20 goals.
Unbelievable. 20. I mean, he's got 20. Wissa's got 19. These guys have carried Brentford this season. Yeah,
losing Tony, they've more than filled the void, haven't they? Yeah. And fair play to Thomas Frank for finding a way to play without Tony and so successfully finishing 10th, another top half finish for him. So what a season for Brentford. A great end to the season as well. They ended the season in really good form. But Mbeumo, Norgard, I think a few weeks ago said he's probably on the move. He reckons maybe Wissa as well. Look, Brentford will have to probably somehow find a way of replacing both of them. But knowing them, they probably will do it because as long as they keep Frank anyway, they'll probably find a way to replace him because he just finds a way to keep going, Frank and Brentford. But
Frank's staying.
Mbeumo, where is he going to go? He's really fulfilling that potential now, isn't he? 20 goals, 20 Premier League goals. He's really gone for that player who was really exciting, but maybe a bit frustrating in the final third, where now he's a player who's getting 20 Premier League goals.
Sign him up, Daniel. Get him in, because he's what we need, in the position that we need. Imagine Mbeumo and Brennan are our right-wing options for next season. That is good.
Yeah, I really think he's probably going to slot in at Newcastle. I got that feeling. He's just so perfect for them, like so perfect.
Why not us?
Us as well, but we have a right winger who's currently on 18 goals. I'm not saying Mbeumo's not better than him. He is. Don't get me wrong, but like Newcastle have literally got no one there in that right wing slot. You know what I mean? He's just like they'll go all out to make him their number one target. Will we do that? We should, but we won't.
If we're serious, we would.
I would like to say we will, but I just feel like Newcastle will say like you come here starting every game, you're going to be the star of this team. I like for us, it's like you're going to be competing with Brennan, who's on 18 goals. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but we've all said all season Brennan needs some serious competition, and that's what it looks like.
I agree with you. I'd get him in. I just think he would go to Newcastle.
All right. Star men, Sim went for Evanilson. I went for Semenyo. The head-to-head actually worked for once in my favour.
Evanilson bloody missing an open goal in the first half. That sums up my season.
Yeah, and Bournemouth won 2-0. Semenyo scored both of them. So I end off on 423. Sim ends off on 375. That's what? Nearly 50 points. 48 points.
It's a shocker for me. Absolute shocker.
Another season, another win. And I've done the double this season. A European champion and a Predict the Prem champion.
It's equivalent of 17th.
Once again. Come on.
It's a three-peat.
It really is. 3 in a row, Sim. So you'll never win 3 in a row.
2 on the last day, and this season has been a bit of a battery.
This has been such a glory season. See, my eyes have seen the glory. My eyes have seen the glory. Come on, people.
A lot of luck this season. So I've just been unfortunate.
Absolute battering. This is probably the biggest gap out of all those 3 years.
Although all the ones have been very close. You won on the last day. I've been in the lead in the last day, going to the last 2 years and lost it, but this year's been a bit of a blowout. It's like when you keep going and then you've had those disappointments, and now you just let yourself go.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago there was a kind of a close kind of start to a comeback, but it just didn't materialize.
It's my star men. I'm gonna have to give him a big talking next season. I think my star men let me down big time.
I want to look, because I've got all my star men here. I want to look at who I didn't use. So I didn't use Gakpo. I didn't use Rodgers, João Pedro, Mitoma, Son, Beto.
I didn't use Son either, yeah.
Which is mad. Never used Sonny. Did I use any Spurs players?
You must have. I think you used Brennan. I think he scored when you used him.
Solanke, I used Solanke and Brennan. That's it. But yeah, I'm taking the win once again. Taking the win once again.
Well done.
Come on.
We go again next season. Not been good. I need to completely rethink my strategy next season, I think. Just a complete overhaul. Clear out the philosophy. It might take 2 to 3 years to implement, but it's got to be a complete summer of change for me, I think.
We just need to keep building on the success. Keep building on the success.
No, he's going to get ahead of himself. He's going to let himself go. He's going to get.
I was ahead of myself going into this season, and it was the biggest lead I've had ever.
You're going to get too confident. Yeah, I can feel it.
Big up to everyone.